time of a week. Charles has taught me how to tell stories. There was this little girl who found it difficult to pronounce the word electricity. Each time she tries, she says electricity. And so the mother was very concerned. And so she takes the little girl to the teacher. When they met the teachers, she was very quick. Now the teacher, oh, I know where the problem is. Your little girl doesn't have the capacity. What is capacity? Capacity. Actually, what was happening, the little girl was just doing a literal translation. If electricity is electricity, capacity will be capacity. So the problem was the teacher, not the girl. That is not my point. My point is capacity. The memory capacity we have. We have a memory capacity that can look the whole world. But just what do we carry in our memories? Do we have the capacity for holiness? But that's what the first reading is talking about. Righteousness, happiness, aligning our lives to the will of God. Vaughan is very clear on that himself. He says, we are not called to be successful, we are called to be faithful to the will of God, and that is holiness. Once we align ourselves to the dreams, the desires, the will of God, life is beautiful, we will be happy. When we doze off, everything becomes so difficult. I was chatting briefly with Masika there. Then he mentioned something very profound to me. I don't think he realized it, but for me it was very profound. At the beginning, a new parish was very challenging for him, and it's still very challenging. Sometimes he thinks until he cannot think any longer. And then what happens is, he says, I surrender to God, the will of God. He provides. But the will of God of holiness is not just sitting in the chapel, praying all the rosaries in the world, looking very holy and gloomy as we do sometimes. But it's actually in very simple, practical ways, discerning always what would God like me to do in this very complex and difficult pastoral situation. And then I'm able to throw myself to that. Allow him to take charge. He is the one calling me. He is the master of the mission. I have little or not. I'm only an instrument. That is holiness. Holiness is also being kind and gentle and generous to those with whom we live. That is holiness. Holiness is desiring to see Jesus. As we heard today in the gospel, holiness is also humility on the part of John, who sees Jesus and points him away. Behold, the Lamb of God. John did not point to himself. I'm telling you, brothers, it's very easy for us to become Jesuses in our own terms, in our parishes, in our community, in our offices, that everybody points the finger to me. I am the one. No, John is saying something different. We are only pointers. We are messengers, not the message. We are voices, not the word. That this is what we must realize so that we can be able to point people to the right person. Jesus is a message, life in abundance. Jesus is the word that took on the human flesh. We celebrate him today and we continue to celebrate him because he is the source and the sustainer of all that we do, think, and even say. Brothers. That again is holiness. Now, holiness is when we desire to go to be with him and then we spend the rest of the day with him. I think scriptures call us. And those who read the paper, Pope Benedict, who is dead now, he wrote something on spirituality. And he says, in the evening of my death, expression he uses, in the evening of my day. Because our whole life is lived in a day. What they are saying is that these disciples went, they saw, they heard, and they stayed with Jesus for the rest of their lives. This is what we are called to do. That even in ministry, I am with Jesus. And whatever I'm doing, I am with Jesus, doing with Jesus. Sometimes we can do lots of things for Jesus. Actually, the calling is, can we do with Jesus? That is why we have incarnation. He's not coming to lead us, not only coming to follow us, he's coming to walk with us, that we may walk with one another and walk with him. Synodality again. Holiness, righteousness is also unity. Unity of purpose, unity in mission. I always like it. I almost feel that when I go to do retreats like this time, when somewhere to Palisa, when our students have gone for retreat also, I shared with Father Charles. I'm telling sisters everything I say Father Charles. In fact, when I was leaving sisters, they go and greet Father Charles with us. They don't know him. Now, why is it so? Because I'm so convinced that even there we are together. He knows where I am. He knows what I'm doing. And he is there to bless me so that when I come back, he can go somewhere. Unity is also holiness. Another story, again, born from Father Charles, no plagiarism. In case I was accusing him of plagiarism. There is some Catholic who died and went to heaven. A Catholic, he went to heaven, he was very holy. He thought now he has made it. Of course, when you are in heaven, you've made it. And then he sat with St. Peter and he crossed his leg. I'm sure he was a medium Catholic. He had a big glass of what? 9 or something like that. He must have been a progeny of Michael. Big mug, enjoying life, sitting there. And then asked him, he heard some noise somewhere. And then he asked St. Peter, are those people Pentecostals? St. Peter said, no way. And his joy was even lifted high. You see, I knew those guys who make noise all the time, they cannot be in heaven. He was even prouder and happier. And then he still asked, are they Muslims? St. Peter said, no, they are not Muslims here. And the guy was even happier now. So we are the only ones Catholics. And they asked, what about Catholics? Are there some others? Are there ones? He said, no, they are not Catholics. Then the man was confused. There are no Catholics also here. Then myself, am I not a Catholic? Then St. Peter said, in heaven, there are no Catholics. In heaven, there are no Pentecostals. In heaven, there are no Muslims. In heaven, they are the children of God. Can we leave heaven also in Mihil? That in Mihil, there are no Kenyans. That in Mihil, there are no Ugandans. That in Mihil, there are no Dutch. That in Mihil, there are no Indians. In Mihil, there are no Cameroonians. We have Mihil missionaries. That is also holiness. That is righteousness. Purity of thought, purity of intent, and purity of purpose. And life will be beautiful. Brothers, he says, be holy, as your Father is